Have you thought about this? When you're in conversation with somebody, you really only have two choices. You can either react to whatever they're saying to you, or you can respond. What most of us do is when somebody's speaking to you, you're thinking in your head how this relates to you. So it's actually all about you. And then what happens is if they say something that makes you feel uncomfortable and triggers your fear, you get into defensive mode. And when you're in defensive mode, then you react to whatever it is that the other person's saying. Now what happens when you react is normally they get in defensive mode because their fears now get triggered, and now you have a conversation with two people reacting to each other. That always triggers a fight. Have you thought about that? That there's a different way of communicating with people? What if you would do it this way instead? You're listening to somebody talking to you and they say something that potentially triggers you. You have a split second in that moment to make a decision. Decision is, shall I go to reaction mode where I'll react to whatever they're saying? Or should I go to response mode where I stop myself for a minute, think about what they're actually saying to me, because they might be speaking from their fears. You've got to remember this as well. What they're actually saying to me, who they actually are, because I know who they actually are, and what they're actually trying to say. And from that place, I choose to respond accordingly. Now that all sounds like it takes a lot of time, but it doesn't. Because if you're present when you're in conversation with somebody, you have time to stop yourself for a second and figure out how you want to respond. Because nobody can ever make you feel anything. Nobody can ever make you feel small, make you feel like you're not good enough, make you feel ugly. Nobody can ever do that. That's always your responsibility. People say something, you either choose to go into reaction mode where you believe that what they're saying belongs to you and now you have to defend yourself, or you go into a place where you think, okay, they're probably coming from a place of fear when they're talking this way. I'm going to choose to respond from a place of power and from a place of compassion and love. And I know it's hard sometimes to do that, because sometimes when people say things, you just want to splash out and say something nasty back. But you always have responsibility of showing up a certain way. And you always have to ask yourself, am I showing up the way that I want to show up? Because showing up in your relationships is your choice. And it's not just your choice, it's your responsibility. So think about a relationship in your life that might not be working that well, and ask yourself, when I speak to this person and they say something that triggers me, do I go into reaction mode, or do I stop and respond from a place of love and compassion? Take that into your relationships, and I promise you, if you apply this, your relationships will change forever.